Hey band, this is Mrs. Flynn. It's nice to see you. This is the video that's going to be explaining our first video assignment. Hopefully, because you're watching this, you've logged into Schoology and you've opened the online learning COVID-19 folder. This assignment is going to be specifically for Concert 2 and Concert 1. So if you're not in those bands, then you're probably in the wrong place. All right, so you're going to open that folder, then you're going to go where it says weekly online learning plans, and you'll see a bunch of dates. You want to find the current date. Right now I'm talking about the April 6th through 10, but this video will apply for all of the rest of the scale video assignments that we assign. So you're going to open up your folder for the current week. And in the current week right now, we have the Troika Etude Scale Performant rubric. You can ignore all those other words. The main word is rubric. It's a little sheet of paper like this. If you can print it out, awesome. That way you can have it on your stand. If you can't, just have your phone up and use that. That's going to be really crucial. I'll go through that later. The second part of that folder is going to be the 12 major scales. Depending on your instrument, you want to go and find your instrument and you want to print that page. We really don't want you playing off of a computer screen. You're not likely to have very good physical form while you play, especially if you play a larger instrument. We also don't want you reading off a phone because it's really tiny. So if you can manage it with all of the requirements thrown at you, we want you to print off your scale sheet. It's all 12 major scales, so if you're a freshman and you've never played all 12 major, you've only played those 8, ta-da, welcome. All right, so go ahead and print off your scale sheet. So you should have a scale sheet and you should have the scale sheet and you should have the rubric. Those are your two paper resources. You also need to make sure you have a metronome. We're going to talk about when you're going to use that metronome further. Clearly, we're going to use it while we practice, but we also want you to use it while you perform. And if you're going to use your phone to record, often you can't have a metronome going at the same time. So you probably need to pull up metronome on a computer that's somewhere nearby or borrow mom and dad's phone. And all you have to do is type metronome into Google. There's no website, it just pops right up for you. Our requirements for these assignments are that you play these scales somewhere between 60 and 80 beats per minute. It is your choice. If you want to go faster than that, awesome. You cannot go slower than 60 beats per minute. I'm going to walk you through how to practice these, what good tools are in order to get very good very quickly. This should not be something that's taking up a large part of your week, but it can take up more if you want to get really good. Scales are an awesome way to increase your individuality and your playing ability, just like lessons. It practices the entire range of the instrument. It practices tonguing, slurring, tone quality, all the above. Okay, so if you're bored at home, this is the best. Okay, so pull up that metronome on the computer or on someone else's phone, especially if you're going to do it while recording, which is required. You have to have a metronome going while you play your scale for the recording. I got my horn here. All right, so this is a way that we're going to practice scales. So we're actually going to go chromatically up the scales. So every single person is going to start on the concert B flat scale. Okay, that's the first scale we're asking for. The second scale we're asking for is one step up, so B natural. Then next week's assignments will be C and C sharp. The next week will be D and D sharp. Get what I say? Right? So we're going to go 2 at a time and we're going to do chromatic. So this week's scales are B flat and B natural. However, this video you can rewatch every single week if you want to relearn all the tools. Okay, so I'm going to show you practicing on our concert B flat scale some really nice tools. Yes, this is a woodwind instrument, but these tools are for brass and woodwind alike. Okay, if you play percussion, Mr. Waits has a separate folder for you. So if you've made it all the way into the 4 minutes into this video, you need to make sure that you're going to check Mr. Waits's percussion folder. If you don't have access to that, you need to email him, but I'm fairly positive that you all do. You will not have these assignments. You will have separate assignments. Okay, So the first thing you want to do is make sure you read through the scale. You need to find all the sharps and the flats. I would physically touch them. This one for me, because I play the clarinet, has none, but most of you will have 2 flats. Some of you will have 3. Okay, so the concert B flat scale for me is a fairly medium range. If you're dealing with a 3-octave scale, we do want you to play all 3 octaves, okay? But that's where a slower tempo might come into play. All right, so for the clarinet, it's a 2-octave scale. For some of you, it might be a 1-octave scale. Absolutely fine. Like the oboe is 2. But if it's a 1-octave scale, play it up, play it down, and you're done. We do have the scale sheet, and we will know. Okay, so my first advice is that you turn the metronome slow. Even if you've already learned these scales previously, turn it on slow. So here's the metronome on at 60. And I'm not even gonna play scale pattern rhythm. I'm gonna play each note individually just so I get them under my fingers. And I'm just gonna do 1 octave. Notice that all my notes touched, there was no space, and I am tonguing. We're gonna ask for tongue up, slurred down. Okay, so I'm gonna practice the exact same octave, except I'm gonna descend this time, and I'm gonna slur. So again, that was every single note, the exact same rhythm. It's just a nice way to get it on your fingers, in your brain, okay? Then I can start practicing it in quarter, eighth, eighth rhythm, okay? But you need to make sure, especially for the harder scales, once we start going through, that you practice it super slow. If you're playing it and you're making a mistake, it's too fast. You want to play it as slow as you have to get 0 mistakes. Then you will slowly start to bump it up. So now that I've done that, I would do the same thing for my 2nd octave. If you have a 3rd octave, you would do the same thing for the 3rd octave. Okay? In order to get the speed up, so say I'm happy, I've gotten all my notes, I feel comfortable, because this is a fairly easy scale for me. Okay, so maybe I take that up to 80, because I've already worked through it. I take it up to 80, but I'm still not gonna do the rhythm. I'm just gonna play the notes. Right? And I still feel very, very comfortable. So maybe I'll drop it way back down to 60 and I'll start doing our scale pattern rhythm. I want to make sure not to hold that last note too long. We want to make sure it's the actual rhythm on the page. Okay, now I only played the 1st octave, right? Because I'm real close to you and playing really high would probably sound poor. But you get what I mean. Start super slow, then speed it up. And so now my goal is to play it at 80 or higher. So now I'm at 60 beats per minute and I just played the 1 octave tongue up, slurred down. Now I'm gonna go up to like 65. Not 70 or 80, 65. Okay, and I'm gonna play the exact same thing again. And if I make a mistake, I'm gonna stop and I'm gonna fix it and then I'll start over. 65 beats per minute, same scale. See, and I paused. I can't pause. There is no pause, right? So I got to do that again. I'll practice the top 3 notes in order to get that to be smooth. And then I'm happy with that, so I'll move on. I'll start over again. And I'm happy with that. So I would move on to my 2nd octave at that point, and then I would slowly start to speed it up from there, right? So you want to do each octave separately, right? And then you want to add them together because you can't have a pause in between them. They have to be cohesive. All right, so let's move on for the last little bit of this video to talk about the rubric. The rubric is the middle section. You'll see it says Etude Performance Levels. Ignore that for right now. That's for your audition music. The middle section that says Major and Minor Scale Performance. That's what we're going to work with. Now, I know you guys I know you guys. You think that if it's a scale of 1 to 10, that 10 equals 100. This is not that. This is merely saying that each number means a different level, okay? So if you look at that, level 1 on that rubric says the student attempted to play the scale, but it is unrecognizable. We don't want that. Please do not submit a video where you are messing up every other note. That means that you didn't practice and you didn't spend 30 minutes on this and you wasting our time making us listen to it, okay? All right, if you look up at level 5, this is my favorite level. Level 5 says all notes and fingerings are correct. The correct range was performed, which means all the octaves that we asked for, and tone is developing properly. If all of you get a level 5, I am going to be so pleased. Level 5 is you have done it, okay? Now, if you start looking above level 5, please understand that level 10 is something that I don't think I would give myself as a professional player, okay? So level 10 is like, you gotta be real good, okay? All right, so if you look at like level 6 and 6.5, they're the exact same, except level 6.5 is faster, okay? So it just means that your tone quality is improving further and it's not perceived as slow. If you perform at 60 beats per minute, that's considered slow. If you perform at 80, that's not considered slow. If you perform higher, clearly you've advanced further. Okay, if you start looking at level 7 through 8.5, the tempos are reaching maximum, so you're probably at like 100 or 110. And the tone quality is super consistent over all the range. There's vibrato on your quarter notes, and articulation is clear and doesn't cause any distraction, right? That's like near perfection, all right? 9 is maximum, and 10, there are literally no flaws. None of you are gonna get a 10. That doesn't mean that you're not gonna get 100. This is not a grading system. This is merely a way for you to say, yeah, I think I'm at level 5. That's not you saying, yeah, I think I deserve a 50. They do not coincide, okay? All right, so right then, that scale I just played, I would probably give it like a 6, maybe a 5.5, right? Because I played it really slow, but my articulation and my tone was good, but I didn't play all the ranges. Okay, after practicing a little bit more, I would probably jump up into the 7 to 8.5 because my goal at the end of the week is to turn this assignment in at around 100 beats per minute. But remember that the requirement is 60 to 80. Okay, so you're going to be asked for 2 scales a week. You want to use this rubric in order to grade yourself. So when you submit the assignment, right? I've recorded, ta-da! And when I record, we have to be able to see you. See how you can see my fingers, my face, my body. I can see my environment. I don't want to see y'all sitting on a bed. I don't want to see you sitting on the floor. You can stand or you can sit in a good chair, okay? I'm in a hard back chair, all right? You need a music stand, which you can't see, but it's off. There's my music stand. Boom, 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 right? And if you need to makeshift a music stand, great, but it cannot be the bed, all right? So I record myself. So I'm like, okay, Leslie Flynn, here's my video of the B flat and B natural scale, and turn my metronome on to where we can hear it on the video, and then I'm gonna play, right? All right, then after my video, I'm gonna press stop, I'm gonna enter it into Schoology under the correct assignment, so the assignment is gonna be back in that folder, and it's gonna be under the week that we're in, the current week. Okay, you'll assign assignment and submit your assignment. Once it's submitted though, we want you to grade yourself, all right? So after you submit it, we want you to go to that rubric and be like, okay, I'm listening. Oh, I made a mistake. And I think I was probably at like a 4 of that, maybe a 5, maybe a 4.5. And we want you to comment on the video that you just submitted saying, I give myself a 5. I give myself a 3. I give myself a 9, right? So we want you to give that rating. Okay, if you have questions at all, you can message me or Mr. Johnson through Schoology. You can also email us, but Schoology is what we're going to be checking day in and day out. Okay, so send us a message through Schoology, and you can also, anytime, our conference hours, which means that the time that you can like set up a Zoom meeting where we can get on our phones and we can have like clarinet time or trombone time or anything. That is 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. and that's forever. Okay, we will be free 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. If that's not good for you, you can message us and we'll figure something out. Okay, so that means that you can get physical help, even though it's virtual. I guess virtual help. Okay, so 2 scales a week, and we're using this rubric, super important, 60 to 80 beats per minute, audible metronome, correct form. Also look presentable, don't wear PJs. If I can't wear PJs, you can't wear PJs. Okay, all right, I love all of you. Practice hard and have fun.